I'm watching Daniel's
them, you know.
live stream where he's sending bookmarks.
Wouldn't it be fun to go swimming?
They're talking about killing animals.
And so we then
not on purpose.
dumped all 26 frogs into her pool.
Seeing as we're coming to the end of the year, I thought it would be good to have a wee look at some of the books that are coming out next year that I thought looked quite good. First up, we have a self-published book that's coming out in 1st of February called The 11th Cycle by Kyan N. Ardalan. I'm sorry if I butchered that. It has been 1,000 years since the last seed abandoned their duty. The mists are closing in. Finally, the morning bell tolls. A new seed is born, but is it too late? The rot eats away at mortals. The witnesses pray so that they may not turn into one of the forgotten, and the constricting mists infect the lands with fear. This is a From Software influenced dark fantasy book, and From Software are the company who did Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Sekiro, and what's the other one they did? Bloodborne. The games are known for a really stand back take on lore and world building and plot, where you kind of need to hunt down different pieces and piece together the story yourself. So I'm not sure how this will translate into a novel, but I'm really interested to see how it will or won't. I assume it will. It sounds great and it looks great and it gets really good reviews. So from reviewers, the pre-review people. Do they have a name? The ARC people. But really, I just want the cover on my shelf because it looks really good. But I'll be reading that in February. I'm really looking forward to it. The second book is The Sword Defiant by Gareth Ryder Hanrahan. Set in a world of dark myth and dangerous prophecy, The Sword Defiant launches an epic tale of daring warriors, living weapons, and bloodthirsty vengeance. The sword cares not who it cuts. Many years ago, Sir Aelfric and his 9 companions saved the world, seizing the Dark Lord's cursed weapons, along with his dread city of Necrad. That was the easy part. Now when Aelfric, keeper of the cursed sword Spellbreaker, learns of a new and terrifying threat, he seeks the 9 heroes once again. But they are wandering adventurers no longer. Yesterday's eager heroes and today's weary leaders, and some have turned to the darkness, becoming monsters themselves. If there's one thing Aelfric knows, it's slaying monsters, even if they used to be his friends. I actually hadn't read that until now. That sounds really good. I just thought the cover looked cool. The thing that drew me to this one is the living weapons trope. I think that's really fun. And also the fact that this book has a lot of humour in it, I've heard. I really like when you have a dark, gritty sort of fantasy book, but then meshes in this sort of humour and it's this combating of atmosphere and themes. I like a hee-hee and a ha-ha. What's next? Another self-published book coming out in the end of January. January 28th is, I'm going to butcher this, Ajuelsin? The prequel, no not prequel, sequel to Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. Illborn was one of my favourite reads of 2022, but the thing that makes me really excited about what's coming up with the next book and the book after that is something he said in an interview with Petrick. I can't remember exactly what he said, so I'm going to paraphrase a wee bit, but he said that the themes and the big overarching story for the series hasn't really been introduced yet until book 2. The big themes explored, I don't think, will be introduced until book 2. So I'm really looking forward to that, and Illborn's really good, so read it. You won't see this one coming, Our eye holes will be blessed with the Shadow Casket in February. Shadow Casket is the sequel to The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. I've already shouted from the rooftops about how much I've loved The Ember Blade. I think I read it in 2020. And I haven't stopped thinking about it since. It's such a good book. It's a modern day Lord of the Rings. It's really good. Just read it. Coming out in January, we have Hellbent by Leo Bardugo. I read Ninth House and really enjoyed it. It wasn't something that I think It's not something that would normally be my style. I don't read a lot of urban fantasy, but I really enjoyed this book. Even, oh, Stephen King's on the top. Impossible to put down. You heard it from the king. That's all book. This whole book 2 is good. I don't know why it's not called the 10th house. Leia. Now the really obvious one is Sanderson's 4 secret projects. I'm not going to say the titles because I know a lot of people want to go in blind, but he is releasing 4 books. Well, he's releasing 5 books in 1 year because I forgot about Defiant, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The man is a machine. Love Cosmere. I'll be there for every book that he releases. Still working my way through Mistborn Era 2. Should be caught up. And then next year it'll be into the 4 new ones as the lead up to Stormlight 5. So very excited for that. He's also releasing Defiant next year. And I'm not excited for it, but I will probably read it. I really liked Skyward. Starsight I also enjoyed. Cytonic was a disappointment. I really didn't like Cytonic very much. But the end of Cytonic had a really good ending. So I know Sanderson has the Sanderlanche and is really known for ending series and books really well. So I'm hopeful that the last book will still be pretty good. Also coming in January. January is absolutely packed with books. That's the problem. Is Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill. It's the 3rd book in his Bound and Broken series. And with each installment I've enjoyed it more and more. And The Exile, the novella, I think it's 2.5, you need to read it after book 2, was 5 stars. One of the best novellas I've ever read. It was so good. So I'm really hoping that all translates into book 3. I love book 2 and 1 as well, but The Exile was top tier. Next up was another cover that caught my eye, and I actually don't know anything about it. 7 Faceless Saints. Discover what's lurking in the shadows in this dark fantasy debut with a murder mystery twist perfect for fans of Leia Bardugo and Kerry Maniscalco. In the city of Umbrasia, saints and their disciples rule with a terrifying and unjust power, playing favourites while the unfavoured struggle to survive. This is very much one of those ones where it's just the style and the atmosphere I kind of feel from the cover and the name and a bit about the synopsis. It just feels like it would be dark and interesting, and it sounds cool, so I'm going to read it, probably. Next up is Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee, the author of the Greenbone saga. Hello, Meg. Ma? Hello. Okay, she definitely doesn't want to be on camera. I've really enjoyed my time with the Greenbone saga so far. I've not finished it yet, but I've heard it gets better and better, so I'm really interested in reading more of it soon. But I'm really interested in seeing what she does with her future works, even if it is just a novella. Plus, it has a manticore in it. What books have a manticore in it? This one. I used to be in a band called Manticore. Those were the days. Not good days, but there were days. Next up is The Warden by Daniel M. Ford. What really caught me with this one is, again, the cover is so good with the illustration by Chris Cold, but it was the tagline, which is, for fans who have always wanted their Twin Peaks to have some wizards, The Warden is a non-stop action adventure from Daniel M. Ford. Twin Peaks in fantasy. Sounds so good. I want that so bad. I didn't realize I wanted that. It's such a weird mix, but I want that. I want a detective that drinks lots of coffee and weird people that speak backwards. Do you think like you'll have like words that you have to read backwards? That'd be quite cool. Bit House of Leaves, but that'd be quite cool. Coming out in May, we have Witch King by Martha Wells. If you've been following me on Instagram, which I did before YouTube, you'll know that I absolutely love the Murderbot Diaries. I talk about it all the time. So the fact that the same author is doing a fantasy series, I'll be there day one. I will be there day one. We're back to cover buys though with the Archive Undying. Look how good this cover is. But that matched with the tagline, War machines and AI gods run amok in the Archive Undying. I've not really read much in the way of like mecha type books. I really want to read Titan Hoppers soon by Rob Hayes. I'll probably read that December, January at some point. But this one, AI gods in war machines running amok, combined with that imagery, I'll be there. That sounds awesome. Next up is the Cyberpunk book. Cyberpunk 2077, no coincidence. I played Cyberpunk as soon as it came out, and I did have some problems with the bugs that were littered on launch. I wasn't quite as bad as some people online, but I did have some issues. But after watching the Netflix show Edgerunners, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I love that show so much. It was fantastic. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it. But after that, I went back into the game, and I've been playing it quite a bit recently. And between the show and the game, it really fleshes out the lore in the background. And it got me thinking, this has to be based on a book. It's really fleshed out, and, you know, it feels like a very concrete system that's been built. However, it's based on a board game. Weird. So as soon as I heard that they were making a book, I was very excited. Coming first half of 2023 will be Neon Ghosts: A Witch's Sin. This is Daniel Green's first foray into sci-fi. Again, what really grabs me with this is all the influence from Cyberpunk and Neuromancer. I really like that setting and that style, so I'm really interested in trying this book out. I like Breach of Peace quite a bit, but I wasn't that big a fan of Rebels Creed. It was okay, I didn't love it. But this sounds right up my street. I've not read a lot of... This is making me sound like I read a lot of cyberpunky sci-fi books. I really don't, but I want to read lots of more cyberpunky sci-fi books, so I'm going to read that. Jumping on into speculation land, I think we will probably get the third Burning book from Evan Winters, which is the Rage of Dragons series. I'm pretty sure originally he said he was planning to release it in 2023. I've not heard anything yet, so it'll probably be the tail end of the year. But we do know it's called The Lord of Demons. And we do know that it's probably going to be awesome.
Wow.
And that'll do it for my list of scribbles on pages that are coming up, bound up together to make you think of things that are not real, coming out next year.